All right, what's up, guys? Just gonna give a couple more minutes, some other people to log in here, and we'll get started about 1:20 or so. Give a couple people some more time to get in here. All right, what's up, guys? What's going on? Got a small group today. Go, what's up, Jared?
What's up? So we have people here from across the country or what?
What's up?
Are there people here from across the country or what? I mean, where's everyone from?
Yeah, we are actually based out of Rochester, New York. I'm not too sure where everyone else is. I know Michelle is in Hawaii, who just joined us. I'm not too sure about the rest of them, but yeah, pretty much we've had people all throughout the country here usually. But what about you, Jared? Where are you from?
Orlando.
Nice.
Orlando, yeah. So all you people up north that need a referral, it's me. If you need someone Spanish, that's daily.
Sounds good. Ashley, where are you based out of?
I'm from Mississippi.
Mississippi. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So last time, I know there's a couple people here that were here last time. A couple people requested the ISA playbook that we created about a month or so ago. I know that Michelle, you wanted that playbook as well too, right? I know there's a couple other people that wanted to check it out, and so I'll just drop the link inside the chat here. You guys can check it out. Tell us what you think about it. Then I was just gonna have today just be an open session. Whatever you guys wanted to go over, we could go over. But if you guys don't have anything specifically you wanted to go over, I have something in mind, but I'll let you guys dictate that. let's see here. I'll drop that link in a second. All right.
So your ISA playbook, that's going to be what? It's just scripts? Is that what?
It's everything from objections to, you know, the 7-step process, prospecting, and then yeah, it's got a. You'll see it when you open up. It's broken up into. Let's see here. How many modules is it? I believe is 8 modules that we break up. This is what we use to train new ISAs, and we still use it from time to time.
Do you know if you have any ISAs available now? I mean, I know that a month ago you didn't have any.
Yeah, we have. So I'm an ISA here, and Tracy is an ISA here, and we have 2 more, and now we've been hiring more virtual ISAs as of late across and overseas. So yeah, we got about 8 now total, I believe. Yeah, I dropped that link in the chat. I was gonna go over the buyer scripts. Since last time we went over, 2 weeks ago we went over Z buyer and expired. Last week and Tuesday we went over the for sale by owners, and the last one that we have left was the just the buyer script and how to approach that. I was going to do that unless you guys wanted to go down a different route based off what you see in the playbook. It's completely up to you guys.
Good with me.
What's up, Michelle?
I'm good with it.
I'm good. I'm good with me. I mean, that's good.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah, I'll share my screen so we can all be on the same page here. All right. So the majority of you guys primarily deal with buyers, or from time to time, or you more so on the listing side, if I had to assume, right? If you have a team, probably have buyers agents as well, right?
Both, but yeah, I'm primarily here to do more listing business.
Okay. Gotcha. So what do you, what scripts do you primarily use, or what leads do you primarily attack, Jared?
You know, we get Google seller, you know, I like that. I haven't tried any Z buyer yet. I mean, you know, I was thinking about, you know, doing some of that. You know, and then past clients.
Okay.
But you know, I mean, I've used like RedX in the past, and you know, I know that you have a function that's like RedX, and you know, with Lion Desk and everything, and I'm trying to get up to speed with that. You know, I haven't been with you. You know, this is actually my first call that I've ever joined. So.
Okay, cool.
But I know I got an idea. You know what I want. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, so I'm just trying to get a general consensus on like what specific leads you deal with, because obviously there's a lot of new people in here. Ashley said, I'm brand new, haven't done either. Want to learn as much as I can, be prepared for both. Okay, yeah, we can go over the buyer, and then we can go over the Z buyer, because you said you're trying to get into that approach, Jared, or just even an online seller lead, if you had to say.
Yeah, I mean, the Z buyer or Z seller, I mean, that's really because I'm after more, you know, I'm after more sellers, really, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I've got sync, I've got, you know, all kinds of marketing coming in. I've got leads, so many buyer leads, you know. I mean, I can't really, you know, it's hard to handle all of them, you know. So
Right.
switching over to, you know, I want to switch more of a percentage of my business over to listings, and I want to, you know, help the agents in the office, you know, try to, you know, be 50-50, you know, instead of, you know, where most of them are, you know, 90-10 or, you know, 95.
Right, yeah.
You know, most people
Okay.
work with buyers, you know.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like we can go over the Z buyer again, because I know we went over that a little bit on Tuesday, and is a couple of days last week. But I mean, we do have some new people in here, so we can do the Z buyer again if you guys would like. And yeah, I'll share my screen real quick. And we usually just break it down based on the 7 steps and how we go about that. Let's see here. All right. So the Z buyer, what is usually an online seller, or they put in some sort of a inquiry to, you know, try and get their home sold, but they're not too sure about the current situation. Like they might have thought about it, might have crossed their mind a couple of times, or they're just not up to date on what's going on in the current market. So that's what this script and this language is more directed towards, is kind of getting out their pain and motivation. Because like, obviously for those of you guys that don't know, in the playbook, you know, we have the 7 steps of prospecting, and that goes all the way up to the top right here. So 7 steps that we base around for each call. This is how we kind of rank them. So after each call, we try to save the calls and go over the recordings and just try to break it down and see, you know, because there's always something that you can miss and that you can use on the next call, right? So the first step is building rapport and qualifying. And that just comes down to your tone, your pace, your hesitation, and your modulation, and your active listening. Because obviously active listening is, in my opinion, top 3 most important things when it comes to an actual call, right? Things that you can use when it comes to the actual later on steps, such as like your trial close, when it comes to tying down the actual appointment and letting them know that you're not just trying to get the appointment, right? You're actually taking into consideration everything that they told you. It shows that you care as well. And that goes into the next step, which is building value. That can be anything from, you know, building value in yourself as an agent, what you bring to the table, something we like to call unique value propositions, or UVPs, that we use for the agents that we call on, which separates them from every other agent that is called on this lead or on this, you know, for sale by owner. Because obviously they talked about realtors. So it's more so what separates you from everybody else that's trying to get this appointment, right? And then just creating desire in the current market, because we don't necessarily know what's going to happen in the upcoming spring market or months down the road. So building that desire and that value in what you can currently bring to the table now, as opposed to, you know, later on down the road. And that ties into your trial close. And that's just taking everything that you learned in the call and wrapping it up as one, and making sure that they understand that, you know, you're just trying to help them out. You get more so of a consultant, as opposed to just trying to get a listing and just, you know, make money off them, right? But and then obviously towards the end, that's when you're going to get your primary and your, you know, the main objection of whether, you know, they don't want to pay a commission, or right, or just bring me a buyer, or, you know, I'm just going to wait and see what happens with the market. And either way, I mean, if you aren't able to overcome those objections, that's where you're going to have to follow up, right? You're going to have to stay in touch, because, you know, every lead, if it's about a certain time frame out, it's always going to take about 6 to 8 touches, more so even up to 12 touches, to even get them to actually, you know, come around when it comes to actually closing them and getting and securing that appointment. It's not just, it's going to be rare when it's just going to be one face-to-face, one appointment, and then you're going to go in and lock it down, right? It's almost after you're building that relationship. And so now that you guys have those in mind, let's just go through the Z buyer script and we'll break that down. I'll just go through it. If let's see, Tracy, you want to be the homeowner for this? And I'll just go through this just so you guys can see how it sounds, and you guys can go through it. I'll pick someone out, and you guys can go through and see how it sounds. But hi, is this the property owner at 123 Main Street?
This is.
Great. This is Mike. Is this Tracy?
Yes.
Okay, great. Pleasure to meet you, Tracy. I was just giving you a quick call because I saw you had an inquiry online about seeing what your property value would be on the market and potentially getting a cash offer. Now, I'm just curious, have you already sold the property, or were you still interested in, you know, a potential offer perhaps?
I'm still interested. I'm kind of on the fence about it, but
Okay, about a potential offer.
yeah, and just seeing what my house could possibly sell for and deciding whether or not it'd be worth it to do right now.
Gotcha. Okay, so this property, it's not on the MLS, or you're not already under contract with an agent that I should speak with, right?
No.
Okay, great. And Tracy, I know you were looking around at cash offers versus the market value. And let me ask you, are you in a situation that would require you to sell fast, or are you more interested in seeing the maximum value of your property?
I'm actually more interested in seeing the maximum value.
Okay, great. Well, I mean, the good news is, Tracy, you couldn't have picked a better time to look into property value, especially since homes are moving in less than a week with multiple above market offers. And I mean, now, Tracy, I actually work with so-and-so over at Keller Williams, and he specializes in maximizing property values. And just let me ask you, Tracy, if you were able to get an above market offer on your home, would you actually consider selling?
Yeah, I would actually.
Okay, awesome. And I mean, I have to ask Tracy, this is such a beautiful property. I mean, what got you interested in seeing your property value in the first place?
I'm actually looking to move somewhere warmer. I don't like the cold weather here.
So, okay, we're about to think about moving, maybe Florida, Georgia.
South Carolina with my family.
Okay, perfect. It's beautiful this time of year. I mean, did you have any plans for if the property did sell?
I'll probably just stay with my parents, look for a house when I get down there.
Okay, so it sounds like you already have a plan.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, if we could show you a way to get down to South Carolina and be with your family, as well as maximize the value of your home with potentially multiple above market offers, I mean, that's got to be at least worth the conversation, right?
I guess so.
Okay. So, I mean, what I'm going to do is just have Ben Lang stop out, take a look at the property with you. I mean, that way he can show you his marketing plan to get maximum exposure on your property so that you can get the best offer possible and ultimately show you what you could walk away with if it's sold. And I know he's actually going to be in your neighborhood later today, unless tomorrow would work better. I know he's going to be out there at 2 as well as 5. What time works better for you, Tracy?
Tomorrow would be better. I'm a
Okay.
little
And you said
busy the rest of the day.
and are you typically available in the afternoons or the evenings, if you had to say?
Probably the evenings would be better. Would work better.
Okay. So, yeah, like I said, I could do 5 unless 7 would work better for you, Tracy.
Can you do 6?
Yeah, I could pencil you in for 6. I think he's got an available slot at 6. Okay. And great. So you'll be meeting with Ben Lang at 6 o'clock tomorrow, Tracy. And all we ask is when you do meet with Ben Lang and the numbers make sense and you feel like it'll be beneficial to work together, all we ask that you just keep an open mind to listing the property with Ben. Does that sound fair enough, Tracy?
That's fair.
Okay, great. See you tomorrow at 6. Pleasure speaking with you, Tracy. All right, so feedback on that. How do you guys think that sound? How do you think it flowed? Do you guys like the way that sounded, or any questions or any feedback on that?
I think this is Tina. Hello.
Hey, what's up, Tina?
Hey, I think it flowed very well. It was more of a conversation. This is what I felt like it was. It was not necessarily, you couldn't tell that it was a script. I always think that's the best thing.
Right.
And then I love the call to action, like at the end, and also like, hey, if you're not able to, keep an open mind. I mean, I think that is something that I really got to work on, as I get, do this more and more. But I just like hearing it and hearing the flow because it really helps me and when I'm trying to do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's when I first started doing this. I mean, that's kind of what helped me the most is I would just try to force these appointments on on homeowners, and it just wasn't the same as opposed to using that language towards the end. Is like it takes that pressure off them so they know that they don't have to, they're not forced into doing anything that they don't want to do, right? Like, yeah, this is just a discovery meeting, just to keep that in mind, just to see what we could net you on the overall sale of the property. And all we ask is when you do meet with so and so and the numbers make sense and you feel like it'll benefit both parties, just ask that you keep an open mind to listing the property. So all we ask. Is that fair enough? Because I mean, it's not putting a gun to their head, right? For
Right,
like a better
right.
term, right? But
Yeah, I think it puts them at ease too, right? Because you're not trying to sell them. It sounds more like you're trying to help them.
yeah, exactly. And we kind of went over that last time. Like, how many times have you heard agents just say, yeah, I mean, I can come over and I'm going to be in the area tomorrow. I can come over and list the property for you. What time works best for you, right? I mean, that's kind of just like, they might not be ready to do that, right?
Right. That's good.
But yeah, I completely agree with that. And was it, I believe it was you, Tina, last time that did the role play with us, right? And you got to the end and you asked what time would work best and you didn't really assume it. Was that you, if I remember correctly?
Yes, you're correct. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. That's just one of the main things that, I mean, could kind of, make or break it for you is not keeping that control of the actual conversation when it comes down towards the close. Cause it's a weird feeling when you get all the way through the conversation and you get to the very end and you think you got it and something just slips away when you're not taking control of the conversation. I mean, that's happened to me a ton of times. And and that's kind of where the whole recording calls and being able to listen to yourself and active listening comes into play. So not to make that mistake again, right?
Right. That's correct.
But yeah, so this is, so as far as the 7 steps and just breaking down the script just to put it into a better perspective. Obviously, the building rapport comes at the beginning when you're trying to qualify, right? Or even when it comes from this part of the script. I mean, building rapport doesn't have to come at the beginning of the script or the beginning of the conversation, even though that's the first step. That can happen at any time at all, right? So like when you ask this question right here, I mean, I gotta ask, it's such a beautiful property. I mean, what's the reason you were thinking about selling it in the first place? And she said she was moving down south. I started to ask her about, where she was going, family matters and all that. I mean, so that just came into play towards the end of the call. It didn't necessarily come into play towards the beginning, which I think is where some people kind of misinterpret, where they have to build rapport from the very beginning. But I mean, as long as you can qualify them in the beginning and see if it even makes sense to carry on with the call, that rapport is going to come naturally just by the discovery questions that you ask. And as far as the building value, I mean, that's where it comes into the well, I mean, the good news is you couldn't have picked a better time to look into the property value, right? Because I mean, since homes in your area are moving in less than a week with multiple above market offers, and that's just the value that comes with explaining the current market, or like I said earlier, the uncertainty of the upcoming market in the spring, and then creating desire. I mean, that also, the way that I like to see it is the desire and the trial close can sometimes come as one, and that's in this section right here. You insert their pain and motivation, you bring back the active listening part of it, you create that desire. Well, wow, maybe I can get down to South Carolina faster if I, am able to get a offer that fits what I need to sell the home for, right? So that's where that part ties together, and that's called a trial close, when you include the whole call into the final part of the actual phone call. And obviously, the objections part, those are obviously going to come. You just got to be ready for them. But I mean, this was more so just like an example, just to see how it actually flowed and what you guys took from it. But let's see here. Let's see, you guys got any questions for me before one of you guys gives it a go? As far as the script and the language and anything in regards to that, or anything you might think might come up during the script, or where certain objections would come up. No, nothing. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So who wants to give it a go? Who wants to be the agent? Who wants to be the homeowner? Man, nobody today, huh?
I'm trying to get the script, the playbook handy. I can give it a shot as far as the
Okay, cool. Sounds good, Jared.
goes,
Yeah, might as well start somewhere, right?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, it's worth a practice. But what page is it on?
Let's see. This is actually the one that we created in the ISA playbook. We only have the digital version right now, but in that one, in the actual playbook, let me see. Let me pull it. Yeah, do you have the hard copy playbook, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me pull that up. Yeah, because there is an that's going to be under the online seller script. Let me see. That one's slightly different. This is just strictly the Z buyer, but they're all the same. They all have the same end goal on that. Let me see. Let me pull that up. Just listed. Trying to think where the online seller one is. I could have sworn we had one in here under for sale by owner. That's not it. FISBOs, no. Let's see, where is that?
Yeah, this is. I mean, there's several. I mean, 252, page 252 has a
Yeah, it was just
off, but
just on that. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I know we had an actual online seller script in here. I don't know where that went.
circle prospecting.
Well, I mean, you could here. I'll stop sharing my screen real quick. Let's see. If you go to that link that I sent you, Jared, you could just pull it up. You pull it up on your computer and just go through it that way if you want.
Yeah, so I was actually trying to do that. Okay, do that.
Yeah, it's at the very bottom, just under the Z buyer tab on the left side.
Oh, it's on this screen.
Yeah, I just sent it in the chat. It should be the Docs Google link.
So you're sharing a link here. I mean, am I able to save this book? Or
Yeah, you
what?
can save it. Yeah, you can save it as the viewer. You just can't edit it, obviously. But yeah, you can save it.
Okay, so I'm saving it. I'm trying to see how to save it. Right, so it's asking me to sign in. Okay, so hold on. All right. You see where to save it?
No.
Did the link work for other people in here? Were you guys able to open it?
Yes.
You were. Okay, good. I'm just making sure. All right.
Yeah, I'm able to open it for sure. Okay, so where are we at?
It's just gonna the Z buyer cash offer, because you could use this for an online seller as well. Besides like a FISBO and expired, obviously, but.
Okay, so I'm able to open it, but as far as like saving it, I'm not able. It doesn't look like I'm able to do that.
You might want to go to file. I think under file it has make a copy. Will it let you do that? Because I think that's what.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can do it that way.
Okay.
I'll just share my screen. There you go, Jared. Should look like that for you.
So okay, so
Who wants to be the homeowner?
all right,
I'll
cool.
be a homeowner.
Okay. Sounds good, Tina.
Okay, hey, ring, 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 right? Hi, is this Tina?
Yes, this is Tina.
Hi, this is Jarrett West. I'm with Exit Realty here in Orlando. How are you today?
I'm good.
Cool. I was giving a quick call because I saw you had an inquiry online about seeing what your property value would be on the market and potentially getting a cash offer. I'm just curious, have you already sold the property, or were you still interested in selling?
No.
Or a potential offer. I mean, I guess you're using these words specifically.
I don't.
No, man, it's just a guideline. Like if you want to take it any other way, you can, right? This is just a guideline for you.
Okay. Yeah, because some words might turn off sellers. They hear something that's like, oh, split. So okay. So now I'm just curious. Have you already sold the property, or are you still interested in a potential offer?
No, I haven't sold the property.
Okay, great. I know you're looking around at cash offers versus market value. Let me ask you, if you were in a situation that would require you to, are you in a situation where you're required to sell fast, or are you more interested in seeing the maximum value of your property?
I really want to just get as much money as I can for the property. I know the market is really hot right now, and a lot of people are selling their property. So that's the reason why I went ahead and filled that out online, because I'm just trying to get as much as possible.
Okay, yeah, that's great news. I mean, we've sold several here recently for above, appraised value. I mean, we can handle that kind of transaction for you and get more money for you, almost guaranteed. I mean, you're going to see some agents, maybe they're not able to do it, but we've done it, and we can do it for you, and make that transaction happen, and not fall out or deal with buyers that ask you to that offer you something that they really aren't going to do. But if you could have picked a better time, to sell the property. I mean, homes are moving in less than a week, and we're getting multiple offers. Now, Tina, I work with Deli Juarez over at Exit Realty, and she specializes in maximizing property values. Let me ask you, if you were able to get an above market offer on your home today, would you actually consider selling?
Well, that would be great, but I have to think about where I'm going to go. I do want to sell, and I want to get the most for my home. It's just that I haven't thought past where I'm going.
Right. That's really would have been my next question, right? If you had any plans, what were your plans for if the property sold? Yeah, of course, we've been in business for a long time. We handle multiple we handle simultaneous closings from all over, really. Relocations, new jobs. So, we have a team actually in place that, can help you, in your transition to move. I mean, because it is, it's a plan, and, we've got to help you execute the plan, and we've got to have everyone, working together, seamlessly to get that done for you, right? And all of our service providers that we use and that I can recommend to you will help you, address those concerns. So, so if we could address those concerns and, time this properly for you, as well as maximize the value of your home with potentially multiple above market offers, that would at least be worth a conversation, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so. The only concern is, first of all, I have to think about where I would want to move. If I want to stay in state, or if I want to relocate, because I can work remotely pretty much from anywhere. So I really haven't made up my mind what I want to do as far as that aspect. I know you said you can come up with a plan and you have a team that can help. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. A part of me really wants to sell this property, and a part of me is like, where do I really want to go?
That's understandable. As far as you moving to a different state, I mean, we're a national brand, and we have 650 offices around the country. So no matter where you go, I can personally interview agents for you in the new area, so that you can choose 3 or 4 of them. I can present 3 or 4 of them, and I can verify their experience. I can verify their listing history. I can verify that, they can handle the transaction, and then I can pass those people along to you for you to decide, who you best want to use, or, you can get your own people. But, I mean, I highly recommend in a specialized transaction like this that, if I'm working with you here, I'm able to have good communication with the people wherever you're going, whether you're staying in town or whether you're, moving a couple cities over or out of state. I mean, it's just going to make it a lot more fluid for you. So as far as that, pain factor or that uncertainty goes, I mean, I can definitely address those if this is what you decide to do, I mean, so whenever you decide, whether it's today or next month or next year, I mean, I can, take care of it, address all those concerns for you, and, help you with your transition. So what I'll do is, have Daily stop out and take a look at your property with you. That way, she can show you her marketing plan, or our marketing plan, and so that way you can see how we will get the maximum exposure on your property. So for you to get the best offer on your property, and ultimately show you what you would walk away with if sold. She'll be in your neighborhood, I think, later on today or tomorrow, unless tomorrow would work better.
Yeah, probably tomorrow evening would work better.
Okay. All right, great. Tomorrow evening, I'll check with her, and as long as she doesn't, as long as she tells me that if she's free, then I'll just have her come over. What time's better? Like 5, 6?
6 o'clock.
Okay. Okay, Tina, thank you so much. We'll be looking forward to talking to you. If you have any questions, you could always call this number, okay?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, nice job, Jared. Let's give him a round of applause. It's hard to step up like that. How'd that feel, Jared?
So much better. I had to get it out.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, it went off the cuff a little bit there, but that's what you got to do, right? I mean, like I said, it's just a guideline. You got to show what you offer as opposed to, everybody else that's called. But all right, any feedback for Jared as far as that went? Tina, you were the homeowner. Why don't you start?
Yeah, I think, Jared, you did really good, like handling the objection. Because that could have really just stopped, like, I don't even know where I'm going. I don't know if I want to stay in the state or I want to, this is a person that only, all they want is to get the money, but they haven't thought about the next step. But I think you did a good job in handling that objection overall, so I thought you did good.
Yeah, it's a common objection. A lot of people are worried about that simultaneous moving and selling, and yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I like how you talked about the networking part as well when you went down towards the end. Like, right, it doesn't really matter where she went, but that you were well connected in order to find her that actual home that she was looking for. When I feel like she was kind of giving you a little bit of an opening too, when she said, she doesn't really know where she's going, but she was thinking about maybe staying local or making a big move out of it. I would have went down the route of asking her, okay, so I mean, did you have any idea of what your next property was potentially could look like? Were you thinking about upsizing or even downsizing? And then, ask her like, so were you looking for a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom? And that's just kind of like the whole, the rapport thing, kind of take that pressure off of that slight objection she gave you, right? And kind of put it back to her and find out what she truly is looking for, as opposed to just going down the actual selling side, because now you can get the whole buying side of it as well, and you can tie the two together at the end and say, okay, so when we stop out, we can also discuss that 4-bedroom and 3-bedroom home that you were looking to get in the next town over, or whatever that may be. And when we sit down and discuss that, we can also discuss what we can do on the overall net sale of your property when it actually comes down to listing the property. Does that make sense at all? I've just learned over time, it makes the appointment way more secure when you can tie in both, especially when it's a buyer that doesn't really, have a next plan yet, but they do have a somewhat of an idea of what they are looking for. If you could tie both the buying and selling side together, it can make that appointment a lot more solidified when it comes to actually closing the appointment. But yeah, that was good. Any other feedback for Jarrett? Sounds like you made a couple calls before.
Yeah, just a few. It never hurts, man. You always have to get more and more perspectives, right?
Yeah. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? When those objections do come. But yeah, I mean, let's see. You guys got any questions as far as like the objections you would face on that, or anything along those lines? Because now that we went through it a couple of times, I mean, is there anything that when you guys, since we went through it on Tuesday, I don't know if you guys ever tried this again or tried it over that 2-day time span on calls, or what experiences you guys may have had with that, or what you think you may have? we're here to answer those questions as far as, the language and the psychology and, things of that nature. Cause I know some people said they are brand new to this. So. Nothing. Okay. Well, one thing I did forget to mention is, so I know that kind of just because the way it's worded in there, Jared, kind of trip you up a little bit, where they say, if they ask if you have an offer, like, so let's say at the beginning they go, when you ask, or were you still interested in a potential offer? And they go, yeah, wow, you got an offer for me? Right? How many times you heard that? Or people say, you got a buyer for me? Well, yeah, actually, I mean, that's a great question. Just let me tell you why I'm calling. I know you were actually looking around at cash offers versus market value, so you don't really say yes. You don't really say no. You just kind of sidestep it, right? And just carry on, because if it's their true objection, it'll always come up at the end. And hopefully as the conversation goes on and those discovery questions that you ask and that rapport that you build, it'll already eliminate those objections before you even get them again. You know what I mean? So yeah, so there's that's something that like can trip up a lot of people. Just the simple, that's actually a great question. I actually know you were looking around at cash offers versus market value, and just carry on with the script. Or you could ask any sort of discovery question right here. That's why it's like, so let me ask you. After you don't, yeah, well, that's a great question. Let me ask you, is this property? It's not on the MLS, or you're not contracted with an agent that I should speak with, right? Or direct my questions to? So, I mean, always want to keep control of the conversation, because especially when you're calling someone out of the blue, that's kind of like a slightly warmer lead, because in essence, they did put that online inquiry in, correct? So, I mean, anything that could kind of persuade them from being on the fence, because they're always going to be on the fence. That's something that I've learned with a Z buyer. I think I mentioned this last time on Tuesday. They're never, ever going to be set in stone, right? You're never going to call them and be like, yep, come over, let's sign the paperwork, let's do it. Right? It's going to take some sort of market persuasion or their current pain and motivation, learning and discovery, to find out why they actually are selling, and find out why it would even make sense to work with this person. Because one line that actually works, that I've noticed that works great on a Z buyer is, so the majority of people, if it's either a cash offer, the majority of people are going to want to go down the line of actually seeing the value of their property in this current market. So something that I like to use is, if they say towards the end, well, I mean, I don't really know if now is a good time, or they want to wait, whatever that time frame objection may be. You always just use something like, well, I mean, I'm sure you would agree, Jared, at least having those numbers in front of you as to what your home could potentially sell for in this current market would only greatly influence if it was something to do sooner rather than later, or even entertain, correct? And then you get them on that yes train, right? Mm-hmm. Even just along that line of, kind of persuading them towards doing it now and seeing what they could sell for, as opposed to waiting in the spring to God knows what's going to happen, right? But that's just a little bit of language that I found on Z buyers or online sellers that'll kind of shift them to one direction or another when it comes to waiting, because that's going to be the main objection now. That, well, the winter here, I don't know about in Florida, but so that's just something that I've come across. And I know Tracy's been having some success with Z buyers. You got anything that you've learned from Z buyers that has kind of made it easier for you, as far as, because Tracy started with us about, I think it was a month ago?
Not quite.
Only about
on the 18th. Yeah.
Almost a month, right? Okay.
No, 2 months, almost 2 months. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we started her off strictly with pretty much online sellers and Z buyers, and she's been doing well with Z buyers. And I was just wondering if she had any insight as to how she's been having some success with Z buyers.
I actually found that some of the older ones, like I actually have more success with ones that are from like February, March, April, like older ones, because a lot of times they aren't ready for a good like 6 to 12 months. So by that time, I'm like catching them when they're like now a really warm lead, because they had put that cash offer in 9 months ago. You know what I mean? So now they're like ready to actually do something. That's I tend to find. I find like the newer ones, they're kind of again, just kind of looking and maybe not necessarily ready, but I find the older ones are more ready to make that move at this point.
That's a good point. Yeah, time frame is everything when it comes to selling a property, right?
Mhm.
That's why I like that part, Jared. How you when you went off the cuff on that, and you came back to. No, I was actually just gonna say that next. I mean, did you have any plans for if the property did sell? Right. So I mean, it's almost like I like looking at prospecting like euchre. Whoever knows how to play euchre, right? I hope the majority of you do because it's the best game in the world, right? But the end goal is always going to be right to take those tricks. But how you take those tricks, it's not going to be the same process every single time. Every single hand is going to be completely different. Every single call is going to be completely different. Every objection is going to be different. But in order to get to that end goal, you got to play it right. And it's never going to be the same way once. So yeah, we have the structure and the 7 steps and the procedure in order to get down to the trial close. But if you're able to do that and break it up, it's never going to happen at the same time, but being able to know when to get back to the script or when to get back to building value or when to get to your trial close and wrap it up or when to throw that ace, it's that's just one way that I like look at it. And that actually helped me out a lot when I first started, is just knowing to stick to the process and just stick to the basics. And when you get to the end, you'll know whether you're going to be able to put in that trial close and close that person. So let's see here. I mean, as far as the objections go, what objections are you guys hearing lately? I know some of you have been doing calls, some of you are new to this, but for the people that have been, doing this for X amount of years or months, what objections are you guys seeing when you come across these either online seller leads or whatever that may be? Oh, there's a question in the chat. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Maybe a stupid question, but what is a Z buyer exactly? So it's primarily just either going to be someone is looking to get Z buyer is just a lead source, like any other lead source, like bold leads, any other type of a lead, like Boomtown, things like that. So Z buyer lead is primarily going to be a seller, right? And when the way that the inquiry is sent out and the way that they fill it out online, it says they can either give a reason to have a cash offer done or see what a cash offer would look like, or to see the maximum value of their home by going through a home assessment. And that's kind of where this script comes into play, is not even necessarily going down the cash offer side. It's kind of devaluing the cash offer side as opposed to getting yourself in the door. Cause that's the whole point, right? We want to get ourselves in the door when it comes to that actual home assessment. And that's just going to be one step closer to actually selling the property, as opposed to devaluing the cash offer from a investor. And I'm sorry, D, what'd you say? I'm not interested in selling. They hang up and don't answer when I call again to get more info. Oh, so they're just flat out not interested. D, just straight saying nope, not me. I didn't do that. Is that what you're talking about, D? Oh, okay. I mean, that's kind of a situation where either they are or they're not, right? It sounds like that they're not. But the one thing that I've been able to turn some people is just by saying, okay, yeah, I understand that you may not be interested in selling, but are you up to date with what's going on in the current market right now? That's kind of like the last lifeline to kind of pique their interest, because I've had people say to me, I'm not I didn't submit that, I didn't do that, I'm not interested in selling. Like, oh, okay, I completely understand that. We actually sold a couple properties in your neighborhood as of late, and I was just curious if you were up to date with the current market. And then that kind of opens it up to them saying, well, what homes do you sell, or no, I'm not up to date with what's going on in the current market. And then I'll go down the route of, yeah, well, I mean, we're selling a lot of homes in your area above market offer right now. I mean, homes in your area are selling anywhere from 10 to 50,000 with the right exposure. And I kind of just leave it open-ended to see what they'll how they'll respond to that. Because I mean, in a situation like that, I mean, they really did probably submit it, right? They're just kind of giving you a hard time about it, right? So being able to kind of bring them back and pique that as to why they actually did that, that's probably going to be your only lifeline if they kind of slam the phone on you from the start, right? I mean, or you just put it as a follow-up and then just call them back a month from now and see if they change their mind. You can always do that. That's definitely something you could do. But man, I found out just talking about the market, if they say not interested, that's really going to be the only way that you can pique their interest, is to, almost like the Jones effect, right? If so-and-so down the street sold their home above market and they always say, well, I have a better home than them, right? Or I have a nicer property than them. I mean, why wouldn't they want to know what their home could sell for in this current market, right? Hope that answer your question, D.
I mean, you know, the objective is just to get over there and get in front of them and show them your marketing pieces, right? I mean,
Right.
show them the value and, you know, meet them, because, you know, I don't know, is this statistic correct? 70% of the sellers go with the first agent they meet.
Is that's in the playbook, right?
Not, I'm just telling this off the top of my head. I don't know.
Oh,
That's my math.
I'm actually, I mean, I don't know. Based off my experiences, I would say I don't even. So let's say, I don't know, this is kind of going off the cuff here or on a kind of a little bit of a tangent, but like if you're calling like a for sale by owner and, you know, let's say they're having an open house or they're meeting with a certain realtor, I always like to, you know, if I'm calling on behalf of a certain realtor, I'll always try to get them in the door last, so they could hear all the marketing strategies and all the different aspects that the first two have to offer. And who knows, when you go in last, you're going to be the last person that they remember, right? As opposed to the other two that went before you. I don't know. I've always just had a lot of success when, you know, setting up, whether it's an appointment at an open house. So that's some other language, you know, if you're setting up an appointment at the end of an open house, right? Be like, yeah, you know, so that's the thing. I see you're having an open house from 12 to 3. Why don't I do this? Why don't I just have so-and-so stop out towards the end of the open house? Therefore, you can entertain all those buyers throughout the actual, you know, 3-hour period when it comes to the actual sale of your home. And, you know, if things don't go the way that you expect them to, so-and-so will be there to discuss their marketing options with you in order to get the home sold. Right? Because let's say, because what's worse than them setting up an open house and it being just terrible, right? Nobody comes through, no buyers, no nothing. And then sure enough, you're there, knight in shining armor, last person they see. They're like, wow, maybe I can't do this on my own, you know? That's kind of just goes down the line of, that's obviously down the for sale by owner route, but that's what that's reminded me of, Jarrett. What? Oh yeah, that's actually, Tracy has brought up a good point. I actually set an appointment earlier. It was a for sale by owner, and the guy said that he met with the realtor last night, talked to him, didn't like what he had to say, right? Had no interest in working with, and the guy kind of rubbed him the wrong way. And I kind of just dropped a couple of UVPs, like an easy exit listing or like a communication guarantee or you know, for sale by owner guarantee, 60 days. And he was just all about it. He was like, you know, I wish the guy before me offer those, or else I would have signed with him. So, I mean, it's just certain things that separate you when it actually comes down to it, right? And in what you said, Jared, being able to get yourself in the door and explain what you can do differently. That's always the end goal, right?
Yeah. I mean, and do you have I haven't really gone through your manual yet. I mean, do you have a list of your EVP examples that you have somewhere in here? Like, you just dropped a couple, right? Like that are just
yeah. Let me see.
Anybody can have. It's just that if you
right,
they don't know, you know, and you say something that's kind of
buzzword. Yeah, right.
No?
So I mean, I know that there's a section in the actual playbook about UVPs. Let me see if I can find that in the actual one that we were just cycling through earlier. Yeah, I know that's definitely in there because I remember doing a segment on that.
Did that actually save? Did that manual save?
Oh, here it is. Unique value propositions, page 42. So that comes down to these are what kind of makes you who you are, right? As an agent. Like if we're ever doing a launch call here at Real Estate Nexus, and you know, we're trying to figure, before we're about to start calling on these agents, one of the last things we always ask is, all right, so what separates you from every other agent? If I was to, you know, call on behalf of you and, you know, kind of be in your corner and talk about your rep and everything that you bring to the table, what separates you from every other agent, you know? And that's where the UVPs come into play, and they'll drop certain things like, hold on, let me share my screen so you guys can see it.
I mean, the ISA prospecting manual that you sent only has like 21 pages in it.
Yeah, that's just like a brief training one that we use for the ISAs, but yeah,
that 42 in the actual manual.
Yeah, that hard copy that you had. So I think it's going to be a little bit different on the hard copy as opposed to digital, but Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's
I've got
different.
it. Yeah, I've got it here.
Yep. Yes, I'm just gonna read it off. So selling yourself, your UVPs may focus on selling something about yourself, whether that's your knowledge, your skills, your experiences, personality. Like even if you have stories, like stories about like how you sold a home like within 48 hours, 50,000 above asking price when they, whether maybe a situation where they didn't even want to list it in the first place, or just even if it's like a bizarre story, something that'll stick in that homeowner's mind as to how you're different than every other agent that they've talked to, right?
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's that those are good to have individual personal stories, but there are some tools that are available to everybody that, you could use that some agents don't use, right? That are effective. And I guess there's a lot of different trainers with a lot of different systems and a lot of different things to use. So I was just wondering what yours, what yours were, what you guys like.
Yeah, there's so it all depends on the agents, right? So on each agent bio page that we work with, we have a whole set of, this agent, like if we're calling on behalf and we go towards the close towards, because primarily where we use the UVPs, right? Especially on expired listings, because obviously they had a terrible time in the past working with so-and-so agent, right? So things such as easy exit listing, they won't even lock you into a long-term contract. They're so confident that they can get the home sold. Their last two homes they put under contract within 48 hours and sold 20,000 above asking price. But that's just goes in sync with the actual knowledge at hand that we get from the agent on their current track record as far as sales, because we can use that in our talk track, right? And other things, like, it sounds so easy, but communication guarantee, like you'll follow up with them twice a week based on any activity on the property, any offers, anything along those lines. And then there's certain things like FSBO guarantees, like you could continue to sell on your own, and if you find a buyer before we do, marketing their property, you don't have to pay us anything, right? Because that's kind of like you can have the best of both worlds. It's always a good one for sale by owners if you do offer that. Some agents don't even offer that, which is, completely up to you, obviously. But yeah,
But
so
the
there's
communication guarantee. Is that what you were saying?
yeah, that's one of them. So you'll just, I mean, it just sounds so, simple to me. Oh yeah, and then the other one was a 30-day for sale by owner guarantee, where you can tell the homeowner they can continue to sell on their own, and if while you market the property, but if you find a buyer before they do, then they have to pay you. But if you necessarily find a buyer before they do, then you don't have to pay them anything, right? So that's kind of just the best of both worlds, as you can market the property, but they can still continue to sell on their own and search for a buyer, since every for sale buyer thinks a buyer is going to show up on their porch with a duffel bag of cash and that's it, right? So, I mean,
For a limited amount of time, right? For 30 days, right? Yeah.
Right.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the easy exit listing is just, you don't lock them into a long-term contract, things like that. Because I've heard things got expired where they were in like a 2-year contract, or, just the most absurd things. So that's definitely a good one. And like they hear things like that and they think, wow, I should have worked with this agent, or I should have worked with this agent as opposed to the one that I worked with in the past and wasted all my time with. Right. So, but yeah, there's tons of knowledge in here when it comes to the UVPs, because that's the main thing, right? Every agent's different. That's why I always like to say 90% of the business is done by 10% of the agents. That's a classic John Didio line for anyone that knows him, that's worked here for a while.
Yeah.
But
yeah, anybody can bring over a CMA. Anybody can show you the sales that just happened.
Right.
You gotta have that 35-point marketing plan, and that post-closing, guideline,
Exactly.
List all the services that you work with and can take them through. But any other little thing, man, like this, easy exit listing, that sounds great. Hey, what is that?
Right.
Who doesn't want that?
Exactly. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many like bad experience expireds I've talked to that have just simply said, dude, I'm not signing another contract. I'm not getting locked into anything. I'm not doing this. I'm not selling my soul to someone I don't know. Right. And there's always, there's a ton of, this is obviously going down the expired route, but there's a ton of different language you could use for that. Like, there's only 3 things that come into play when actually selling a property, right? Price point, location, and marketing. You can't pick up the home and move it, obviously. And you don't want to drop the price and bring in buyers. That just defeats the whole purpose, right? So it obviously comes down to marketing. That's why 90% of the business is done by 10% of the agents. And so actually built their career on getting homes sold that weren't able to be sold the first time around. Now, I know he's going to actually be out in the area over the next few days, just doing some walkthroughs for some other people that are curious about taking advantage of this market. You know, just afternoons or the evenings typically work better for you. You know, just certain things like that. Just they can kind of persuade them based on their pain and motivation from their last experience. But hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know we're only doing this Tuesday, Thursday, so we're actually at our time of 2:15. Unfortunately, I thought that was a good session today, guys. What do you think? You guys got any other questions before we wrap this up for today and see you guys on Tuesday? And you guys can catch all these recordings on the Facebook page as well if you missed anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks everyone who participated, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Righty.
All right, see you guys.